Hey guys, welcome to Home Sweet Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I'm a homeschooling mom to one. And in today's video, I'm going to bring you a flip through of the Inventions and Ideas unit study from Gather Round Homeschool. If you're interested in more videos about Gather Round Homeschool or more flip throughs, make sure you hit the subscribe button and check out the other videos on my channel because I do share a lot about Gather Round Homeschool. So what you're going to see today is the digital file that I always purchase from Gather Round. I only have one child, so I purchased the one student digital pack. It comes with the teacher's guide and the student notebook of my choice, but you can also buy the full bundle, which is going to give you access to all of the student levels. So definitely go check out their website. I'll try to link it below in the description box. You can go check it out for yourself. So let's get started with what is inside the Inventions and Ideas. Now I know this is very close up, but when I watch flip throughs, I love to be able to see what is on the page itself, and if it's too far away, I can't tell what's on there. So I want to do this really close so that you can see what is inside of these books. So here's the teacher's guide, and like I said, I print this myself and punch the holes and bind it. You could put this in a binder, you could put it on Happy Planner disc, whatever you want to do. This is just what I do for right now. So let's look inside. Here is the table of contents. So this is a full unit, so you're going to have 20 lessons, and this is meant to be done 4 days a week, 4 or 5 weeks. But the great thing about these units is you can tailor them to fit your needs, and people use them in so many different ways. So there are 20 lessons: why we invent, inventions that navigate, inventions that fly, thrill, communicate part 1, and then here's communicate 2, inventions that deflect, illuminate, dive, clean, entertain, survival, protect, go, explode, heal, organize, transmit, build, and discover. And then there is an appendix at the back. So you definitely want to check the appendix. This is what your child can memorize throughout the unit if you want them to. And before we get into lesson 1, let me show you something else that's in this unit. But what I do is I pull it out so that I can look at it better. So the first thing is this lesson planner. This is going to be a part of the teacher's guide, and I like to use this to just jot down my ideas. You honestly could open and go with this curriculum, but I do like to add videos and other hands-on activities, and so I always use this lesson planner to do that. So this is at the front, so you have this page. You have a box for each lesson, and the reason why I take them out and don't leave them in there is because I don't want to have to flip back to write on it. I'd rather have it out beside me as I'm flipping through the teacher's guide, so I always leave it out and I don't bind that. And then this is also a part of it right here so that you can write down your adventures, or you can put your shopping list of things you might need to purchase. That is super helpful. So that's another thing that's in the teacher's guide. I just don't bind mine. The other thing that's going to be in there is a supply list. This is very helpful, especially if you're one of those people that like to plan ahead. For each lesson, it's going to tell you the things that you might need that will help you complete that lesson. And this goes all the way through every lesson. See? And then it'll even tell you, like, for instance, this one is just for middle and high school. So if you don't have those age levels, then you don't have to worry about it. The other thing that's going to be in there that's very, very helpful is the book and resource list. Don't forget to look at this. But the one thing I want to say is these are just suggestions. I say this in every one of my videos because I still see questions about how do you afford the books? How do you find the books? How do I fit them in my lesson? The thing is you don't have to. You don't have to buy these books. These are just suggestions if you want to use some of them. So this is really great because in the year 2 units, she has separated them by lesson, so that is super duper helpful. Up here, you're going to see the different levels. So you've got pre-reader, early elementary, all the way to high school. They have a different color. So for lesson 1, you've got the books that are recommended and as a suggestion, not really recommended, I shouldn't have said that, they're suggested. And then you have which level they fit best with. So I love these book lists, and I think this is a great addition. I know the book lists were in all of her year 1 units, but I love the way she has separated this. So she has done this for all the lessons, and these will be found in your teacher's guide. Okay, so that comes in the teacher's guide. I just did not print it out. Like I said, I like to have them on hand when I am going through the lessons. So number 1, just like all of her other units, the artwork is absolutely stunning, but let's get into and look at what some of these lessons look like. So if you're new to Gather Round, you will read from the teacher's guide. So this is lesson 1. What I love about the year 2 units is they start with a prayer. Every day starts with a prayer, and then you start reading. You can stop and pause where you want to and add activities or videos, or if your child can sit through the whole thing, that's fine too. So this is everything begins with an idea, and so you're talking about perseverance and inventors. This is why we invent. So it's giving the reasons why people would invent something. I like the did you know boxes too. A place for you to talk about it, and then it tells you, students, it's time for you to work, and it tells the teacher what to do. And then the teacher has this helpful little thing here called a day at a glance. They had tried to start a teacher's companion, but it just wasn't working out. So everything's back at a day at a glance. This is going to tell you what everyone is doing, what your middle school child's doing, what your upper elementary child's doing. It's going to give you answers if you need an answer key. So make sure you check out the day at a glance. And it's going to go like this through the entire book. So if you're new, this is kind of how they're laid out. So let's flip through a few more of these lessons so you can see what it looks like. So this is Inventions and Ideas that Navigate. So you're learning about the compass. Here's another Did You Know? There's actually 2 of them in this one. Something you can look up. This is about GPS and satellites. And then something that you can try over here. And then your day at a glance again. So same type thing. You're going to read the pages, and you can use your day at a glance to help you out. Let's go through just about one more. Let's go to the middle of the book and see what's going on. So here are Inventions and Ideas that Protect. And it has a nice little Bible verse here. It talks about a fortress, learning about why this traffic signal, the lightning rod. Here is an activity break. You're going to do a spotlight on an inventor. So you're going to learn about Benjamin Franklin. Here's some things did you know? Fun facts. An extension activity. Remember, you do not have to do the extension activities. They're just there if you want to. And then it tells you exactly what to do, and don't forget to look at the day at a glance. I want to show you the appendix. Like I said, you want to check out the appendix and see what's back there. So in the teacher's guide, there is a Morse code chart that you're going to use for lesson 5. There is a map of Japan for lesson 15. For lesson 18, electromagnetic waves. And I do believe that in the back is also the sources for where they got their information. I just don't print that, so I don't need that information in my book. So that is the teacher's guide. Now, let's look at the student workbook. So my son is 12, and the upper elementary, I think the age ranges from like age 8 to 12. And remember, that's just suggested. That's not, you really need to judge your kids and kind of see where they need to go. So look at what your kids are capable of doing or what you would like for them to do. Look at the samples that are on the website and then kind of make a judgment as to where to put them. But upper elementary works really well for him. So he would be a 6th grader if he was in public school. Sorry, you can tell I've been working, got my Post-it notes on there. So at the beginning of the year 2 units, you are going to see seat work. This was something new for year 2, and I really like it. This seat work is going to have their copy work. It has their spelling focus because more people did ask for spelling. This is how she incorporated it. There's some tricky spelling, some things you might want to do for hands-on this week, character training, And then at the bottom, there's a checklist for your kids if they want to use that. And let me show you the back. The back, they can do their copy work. They can write out their schedule, their character trait they're going to work on, all that good stuff. So you have this seat work for 5 weeks. Now, the one thing we do to practice our spelling words, there are so many great ideas to practice spelling words. I mean, there's so many hands-on approaches to building with letter tiles and all those kind of things like that, writing with dry erase markers on the windows. But my son is just one of those kids that just wants to get it done. So we just use a notebook. We do a pre-test. So I would look at the words and we would do a pre-test on the first day that we start, which is usually Tuesday. He'll practice the words he misses, and then on Friday we'll test again. So you could just use a separate notebook and let your kids do their copy work and spelling in there. I think there's a lot of different ideas for how to use this. We just use something that I printed off for him. I think I shared it in one of my past videos. So like I said, there's one for every week. And then you have your lessons. So the seat work we actually do before we start the lesson. I go ahead and get him to do his spelling, and then we get into our lesson. So what happens is you will read from the teacher's guide, and then the kids will go work in their individual notebooks. So this is what his notebook looks like. It's got science and history. This is his notebooking page, and goodness gracious, these notebooking pages are so amazing in this unit. They look very different from some of the past units. So he's going to be building ideas. Throughout this unit, he is going to be working on creating his own invention, and they will plan throughout the entire unit until completion of their project. Then you have your science lesson. This is all about light. If you see this, that means that page is in every one of your child's notebooks. So if you have more than one child, you can count on that being in everybody's notebook. It may look a little different, but they're going to have the same activity. Then you've got a lesson about messaging, an introduction to it. This is the same page with an optional extension activity down here at the bottom. And then this one talks about, this is your Bible lesson. And guys, as I was looking at the Bible lessons, it's going to be a good one. This is talking about God being the original inventor of everything. And this also talks about how powerful language is and using your words and the things that you say to lift up and encourage others. And I cannot wait to do this with my son. I'm so excited about it. And then here's a notebooking page for lesson 2. So it does look a little different. It's laid out a little different. This one has a question in it, has sketch a ship, and then he's going to work on magnets, so that's going to be fun. And there is an optional extension activity there. And then here is your language arts or your grammar here. So you're learning about verbs. So they're teaching them the rule, they're telling them what not to forget. They're going to identify it. And let me show you something new about year 2 is the grammar is broken up into days. So you will do day 1 on this day, and then you have day 2 and day 3. And I love the way it's written out because they get to practice it on day 1, they get to show their understanding on day 2, and then they get to, usually it's to say in their own words the grammar rule that they learned. I love this. I really do like the way it's laid out. This is about navigating relationships, which is really good for anybody. I mean, we could all use this right now. And then their social studies and geography is navigating with coordinates. So they're learning things like longitude and latitude and using a globe, all those good things. And then here's another notebooking page. I just want to show you how the variety is there, and so your kids are not going to get bored with this. So this is all about, I guess this is the flight, things that fly. So spotlight on the Wright brothers, how does gliding work? Here's some flight experiments. You can make your own parachute, make your own rotor, make a paper airplane. The impact of flight. Words that fly. So this is another Bible lesson, and it talks about words of peace and words that cut. And how do you feel when you receive words that cut? Like I can't wait to share this with my son. And then you have to design an aircraft. So they can draw it on here, or they can, the optional activity is to create a fun 3D model, so they could use Legos or clay, whatever they want to use. And then I wanted to go ahead and show you this because it's going to remind you to go back and do your grammar, because sometimes you get so caught up in the lesson you don't think to go back. So this is a grammar reminder to go back and do it. So you do have to flip back to where you were. You could always put all the grammar sheets together if you print it yourself, you know, in your book if you wanted to do that. But it will remind you to go back and do it. And then you have your notebooking page again. So let's finish this lesson. I'm going to show you one more thing that comes in the student notebook that I forgot to show you. So your science is about inertia. This history and science is about Gravity Road. This is about disclosure. So this is really good social studies lesson. Your language arts reflect and review. So you're just gonna do a lot of, you could talk and let this be narration, or your kids could answer these questions. Either one would be perfectly fine. So it's gonna go through this the whole time. Just notebook page, art and science. Remember, if you're new, or if you're not new, I guess remember wouldn't work. If you are new to Gather Round, it covers all of your subjects except for math. So you're hitting all kinds of subjects every single day. This talks about the internet. There's a communication game for language arts, picture studies. I know this is up close and I've had to move it back and forth, but I really wanted you to see what each page looked like. So there's also an appendix in the back of the student notebook as well. So don't forget to check that out when you're looking at your notebook. So there is an appendix. It'll tell you what lesson this is going to be used for. Here's paper airplane instructions. Lesson 6, letter or prayer. And then you do have these cards. Of course, I've not looked through the whole thing yet, so I'm not sure what these are used for yet, but we have those, and there's also some words here in the back. And then I noticed this was in the back. It looked like something that really needed to be cut out. He's going to do a biography of Ben Franklin. So I went ahead and took it out and put it together because I didn't want to bind it in the book and then have to take it out later. So this is all in the back in the appendix, and I just put it together. So this is something he'll be working on throughout this unit. And then what I really love about it is at the very end, you have a certificate. So this is really cute. I think it's a great idea to just kind of reward them on their work, give them a little certificate. So it says, congratulations, and you put your name, successfully completed inventions and ideas. So I thought that was a really cute idea. Now, one other thing I want to show you that's in the student notebook, and I just don't put it in there because my son doesn't really need it. But I like to print the scope and sequence out so that when I'm packing up our stuff for the end of the year to store it away, I have that there to show what we've learned the whole year. So you can find the scope and sequence if you have to turn your work into anyone or make a portfolio. This would be perfect for that. It is separated, so you've got your Bible passages, your biblical concepts. This is more Bible, geography, art, and through art, you're going to have math, and these are all the inventions that you're going to talk about. I mean, it's crazy how much is in there. And it keeps going. Here is all the science that you're going to be talking about here. Then you have 2 columns of history. Then you have some social studies. And then you have your language arts. So if you were concerned about the language arts, here are all the things you're going to be focusing on this unit. Here's your writing, and here's your grammar. So grammar, you're going to hit nouns, possessive nouns, and adverbs. Writing, you're going to do a note of thanks to people who serve. Free writes, which my son loves. You're going to write a biography of Benjamin Franklin. You're going to fill out a form. You're going to create an advertisement or commercial. And then your other language arts is body language, think before you speak, miscommunication, a communication game, exaggeration in the media, being a good listener, learning through reading, reading comprehension, messaging and emotions, fear messages, planning and organizing, time management, and metaphor. Tons of great things in the scope and sequence. So I hope that this flip through was helpful. I know we didn't get to see the entire book, but I did want to give you just a little idea of what it looks like. If you have any questions about Inventions and Ideas or Gather Round Homeschool, leave them in the comments below. Also, let me know what kind of things you would like to see on my channel. I love sharing day in the life videos when we're doing these units. So if that interests you, let me know. If you want to see more of a flip through, I can do those too. I just don't want to sit here and bore you with a super long flip through. So let me know if you have any questions. Hit that subscribe button, and as always, thank you so much for watching.